So just getting back to the video, I kind of lost it there, but so they're manipulating people is what they're doing. Just gonna turn this on silent. What happens is so like I was saying, they're manipulating people when you're accessing the fourth or fifth dimension. Um, that's where you meet your ascended masters. That's where they are, and that's where they're fooling you. That's where they're manipulating you into thinking that they are ascended masters, and they are the spiritual gurus that that it's kind of like graduation, right? When you're having like prophetic dreams and you're hearing things, you're meeting these people, you're having psychic abilities, you're doing astral travel. It's kind of like, wow, like I'm like, it's like I've graduated, right? And it's just not that easy. So and then some people do it with drugs, and oh my god, I can't even start to get into that. The corruption in drugs and around drugs, even as simple as MJ, uh it's so bad. But what happens is, they're taking advantage of the fact that people want this kind of connection with the spiritual world. They want to know who they really are, so they'll give them a glimpse. They'll be like, here it is. This is the spiritual world. Now you've seen me. Now you've felt it. Now you've realized you have these psychic powers. So now you know who you are and you know where you belong. And it's in this new age practice. And people don't realize how deep this deception goes. Like, I'm not even going to get into what kind of world we're actually living in. I'll do that in another video. But once you know the truth, you can see through these deceptions and how they're doing them, because it's hard to believe. I know it's hard to believe. But basically, really what happens is you want to picture it like this. We're in the third dimension. It's a low dimension. We're not very spiritual in our physical bodies. We can be extremely spiritual. But generally, it's hard to be spiritual because we're stuck in these physical bodies. And even this new age movement, it is keeping you trapped in a physical world because they're showing you something that is physical. You think it's spiritual, but it's actually physical. It's a physical deception. And they know how to control it because they live in a dimension above you, and they know how to control this. They know how to show you what you'll believe, show what's easy for us to believe in, because we're like, wow, we want to be so powerful and we want to be so spiritual. They know this, and this is just another thing that they're corrupting people with, and they're deceiving us with. They're tricking us for their agenda. And yes, they do have an agenda. And you'll hear all these things about, oh, they're being locked up. All the bad guys are being locked up. We're going to this nice, nicer world, which like where everything's going to be better and brighter. And you have these Pleiadians or whatever, and they're this is all the same thing, all the same people, all the same deception. And I there's so many ways that these people are being deceived. So let's just keep going here. So yeah, no, I wanted to finish my thought actually. So the third dimension, and they're in the fourth and the fifth, and above that is heaven and God and whatever. And like, God can contact you. You have a direct line to God. You have a direct line. It's like a telephone, right? But it's not necessarily a voice. Some people can hear it. Some people can translate it however they do. But some people just feel it instinctually. Some people are just connected in other ways to God. That's who you can talk to. And that's who can talk to you. But angels and whatever, um whatever else, like you're not able to get a connection with them. You're not allowed to. You're not able, and you're not allowed to. You When you do have a connection directly with someone, if it's not God and if it's not pure and the message is not full of truth, then you're probably talking to an ascended master who is fooling you. Okay, so this is really important to know, really important. And I always say, like, people say in conspiracy, theory posts and whatever, they say, like, follow the money, and you'll find all the truth. But I say, just follow the truth. Follow the truth. And I know that people think there are different truths, and they're like, what truth, and your truth is different than mine and whatever. There is really just one truth for everything. There can't be multiple truths for everything. There is just one truth for everything. And it's about trying to get to the bottom of every subject, the truth on every subject. And if you're not, like, trying your best to do that, with everything, without any fear, any, like, holding back at all, then you're probably not getting to the truth. So it really takes to follow the truth to get to all these answers. And you could understand what I'm talking about all this, if you followed the truth fully. And, like, I'll have another video soon, about the kind of world we're actually living in. But for now, like, we'll keep it on one subject because I don't want to, like, mix too many things. But so let's just go down here. So what she's talking about is fear. Okay. So she wants to do, or they want to do, a global mass meditation for fear. Like, look, blah, 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 who are working very hard to raise the vibration of our planet. You can't raise the vibration of the planet. You can raise your vibration and then in turn raise the vibration of other people and the planet. But you don't do it directly to other people. You don't, like, just like kind of like praying somebody gets hurt or something, or, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of that thing. It's, you don't wish things upon people, except for maybe positive things, but you don't wish anything on people because you don't know the absolute truth, most likely. So this bothers me, that it's like the main obstacle coming in our way is the pandemic of fear, that has spread across the planet, due to the virus. But, like, I have had it with this fear, because people have their own perception of fear and what it means and what it's doing. And I have a problem with that, because I actually think fear is important. I think that in the right context, fear is important. And really, it's an individual thing. So, so okay, I'm just trying to find something here. Okay, so it's an individual thing, fear. It's like the movie Inside Out. It's about feelings, it's about emotions. And the girl, it's Joy, the main character is Joy. And you have to kind of watch the movie, but it's the message is really important. These emotions are inside this little girl, and there's joy, there's sadness, there's fear, there's anger, and there's disgust. And the whole point of the movie is, like, Joy doesn't understand why sadness is there. She makes everything sad, she makes everything worse, she gets in the way, there are problems when sadness is around. So she's kind of like, okay, you stay in that corner because you're causing problems. We don't need you. I don't know why you're here. Like, she doesn't say it that bluntly, but she's kind of like, okay, like, we don't need you, right? And, the end of the movie, not to ruin it, but it's kind of like she starts to understand that she has this sort of revelation that, like, if sadness wasn't there, then, joy wouldn't be there too. Like, to understand sadness, you have to understand joy, and to understand joy, you have to understand sadness. So it's the same with all emotions. We need all of the emotions to get to the other ones, and to understand each other's, like, emotions, like the other emotions, right? So fear is important because it helps us understand ourselves. It helps us get to the root of problems and the root of why we have fear. Like, you're scared of something, and then the next step is like, why am I scared of this? And what am I going to do about this? What's going to be my action? And the action should never be to avoid your emotions. It should never be to avoid any emotions. You know, even if it just makes you feel awful, you should never be avoiding them. You should be embracing them and appreciating them for the message that they're bringing. So fear has messages, just like every other emotion. So I don't like that we're talking about suppressing fear as if it's like the pandemic. It's a pandemic. It's not a pandemic. The pandemic is it's the government, it's society, it's the people in the world that are actually evil and are, up high in our governments, up high in the royal family, up high in Hollywood. You know, the corruption is everywhere. The pandemic is not fear. The pandemic is, really, it's our lack of wanting the truth for ourselves. And we can't tell other people, you're doing this wrong and do this, and I'm going to control you. I'm going to wish, we're going to do a global mass meditation, and we're going to wish that you suppress your fear and that everybody has no fear. This is called witchcraft. It's called witchcraft because you can't control other people. You shouldn't try to. And this energy stuff is actually real, and you can change things in the world with your thoughts and with your actions. That's why it's called witchcraft, because it's real. And I know this because, I studied all this. I did, my research, and I kind of lived this. So it's a problem that people are like, we're gonna decide that fear is a problem in all of you people in the world, and we're gonna decide that we're gonna wish it away from the world. You know that if you're participating in stuff like that, that you're causing more problems than you're helping. You can't control other people. You should never try to. You can only control yourself. That's all you should be trying to do. Control yourself. And I wish for you, I'm wishing, personally wishing for you that you realize that fear is an important emotion. And even though you want to generalize that everybody's out of control with fear, you don't know everybody in the world. You don't know all the individuals in the world. You can't be like, all of them are fearful and all of them are out of control with the fear. No, it's the whole world who's in fear generally. A lot of people are in fear, sure, and that's okay. They're allowed to be. Let them go through that, let them realize why they're in fear, and then let them move forward with it and say, okay, well, what am I going to do about that fear? How am I going to solve this for myself? And am I going to suppress it? Am I going to avoid it? Or am I going to do something about it? Am I going to solve it? Am I going to transform it into something better? Right? It's about understanding and then making it into a productive thing, making it, understanding why you're having that fear, what it means about you, what it means about the world, and what it means for truth. It's the government wants, to vaccinate you, force vaccinate you, right? Mandatory vaccinations. Oh, that puts me in a little fear when I hear that. That's okay. Puts me in a little fear. I'm like, oh my God, no, I hope not. That's kind of scary. That's okay. I feel that for a moment. And then I'm like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I'm going to vibrate higher by myself. I'm going to be stay away from me. I have positive energy. I'm with God. I'm on a higher frequency, right? So if you're with God, you're protected. Only if you really understand where God is, and only if you have a relationship with him. And I'm telling you that through New Age teachings like this, you're skipping that, because you're going to the wrong place. So, you might want to listen to other videos I have to start learning about what our real place is. And of course, this is your choice. You want to go on another video? That's your choice. Everything is your choice. I'm never going to sit there and force you. Yeah, we all do it. We're all like, oh, like, we all try to force people at some point or another to do something, but then we realize we can't force anybody and we shouldn't try to. And this is the same thing. We should not force people to not be in fear. And putting all your energy together and doing this type of thing, that's trying to control people. You don't know what's best. Only individuals know what's best for themselves. And if they don't succeed, and if they don't actually like do what's best for themselves, it's on them. But don't go and wish things for other people that, people you don't know, and things that, like, you're not God. You don't know what's best for the rest of the world. So this really bothers me. It bothers me. And I can say, like, I have an emotion of disgust over this, like, it's okay. Have your emotions. I'm like a bit disgusted by stuff like this but at the same time, I understand, she may not know what she's talking about. She may not know what is really going on behind the scenes. And I can tell you it's not very pretty. And it's mostly for deception. So anyways, let's move on. Let's see. Mass meditation. We will synchronize our energies to not only counteract the collective fear, but to also help remove the virus. Like, fine, like, it's good. The intentions are good so that it is no longer a threat to humanity. But to remove fear, this just bothers me. You can't remove something that's in somebody else. We shouldn't control other people. We shouldn't put our energy to it's like a voodoo doll. Like, you wish things upon them. And who are you to say that this is what's best for them? You don't know everything. And if you're wrong, then you're doing wrong to someone else and to other people. And that's wrong. So never think you're right enough to decide something for someone. And this may look like it's innocent, but it's not, because energy is very real. And like, frequencies are very real. So you're sending a frequency of like, let's suppress fear, because we know that's what's best. Like, it sure reminds me of the government and them saying, like, we know what's best for you, so we're gonna issue mandatory vaccinations and we're gonna lock you up in your homes. And like, fine, it's all for the the greater good. And like, I agree with some stuff about it, but I still have my eyes open. Like, I still know the truth at the end of the day. And just the whole thing about controlling other people is just not right. So yeah, so a portal which we will unify our consciousness and trigger the process. Yeah, remember, we are very powerful when we take unified action as a collective. I can tell you this is a deception, because when you do this, yes, you are very powerful. And what are you choosing to do? Is it really going to be positive? How do you know? Are you God? Do you really know? It's like, if you were the president of the world, right? Of the whole world, is this really like, I get that getting rid of the virus would be good, but would you really want to get rid of fear? Like, if it was a thing, right? You wanted to just completely get rid of fear. Is that really a decision you would make that would actually like work and it would actually follow through? Would you be like, I decide to get rid of fear at once. All fear gone. Is this really smart, getting rid of an emotion? You are ruining something in, the chain of things, okay? And it's important. It's a part of being human. It's part of life. We don't get rid of emotions. We simply don't. And I understand emotions. I understand them. I have lived with them my whole life, where I have tried to understand them. I have tried to work through them. I have fought against them. I have fought with them. I'm an emotional person. And I have always understood how important they are, because I've struggled with them. I've been through so much with them that I know how important they are. And we don't get rid of even one of them. It's not That's not acceptable. So, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the universal laws bring that outcome into our reality. So blah, blah, blah. They can do this ascension. Okay, you state your intent, right? Getting rid of the virus is not a bad thing. Like, sure, okay, you can do that. That's a good thing. But I don't know why they're talking about getting rid of fear, other people's fear. I don't know. Who are you to decide? Really, this just is crazy, so visualize this light, disaffecting, healing, fine, removing all the fear associated with this epidemic. Yeah, but even if you're fearful with what's associated, that's just what you decide, right? And it could be as simple as, oh, I can't get toilet paper. I can't have enough food, okay, for my children. But what happens when you feel that fear? You decide, I'm so fearful about this. It's getting to me in my heart. So fearful that I can't feed my kids, or that I'm not going to be able to, that I'm going to do something with that fear. And you don't say that out loud. You're just like, I'm so fearful. Okay, this is your inner voice talking. I'm so fearful, and I have to do something about this because I'm so fearful. I will post something online saying, if anybody has any donations, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, it comes pouring in. People are like, let me give you a can of this. Let me give you a box of this, blah, blah, blah. That's what you do with fear. You take action. You can't suppress fear. You can't suppress fear. It's an emotion. You just don't do it. So anything you're wishing, to go out into the world, and as well as onto other people, okay, that's not right. You don't do that. If somebody doesn't agree with your way of living, or the way that you have fear in your life, and at the end of the day they go and pray for you, and they're like, or meditate for you, and they're like, I wish that this person in my life gets rid of that fear, and starts to be enlightened, and maybe reaches this or that, you are not only doing yourself a disservice in that relationship with that person, but you're doing them a disservice, because you're sending something their way that is not positive. You really want to be successful in this life, you have to send positive. Seriously, just like as simple as, like, I send them love, and I really do love them, and I send them love, and I send them kisses, and I wish the best for them. You keep it simple. You don't wish specific things for them, because you're not the boss of them. You're not God. Don't play God. Don't play God, because your energy does mean something. And as a mass, like, meditation group, like, let's say this hit 144,000. Yeah, you can make a dent in the energy of this world and in what you're wishing. And I don't agree with suppressing emotions. And so you don't know everything, and you have to be extremely careful with this stuff. And there's so many lies in New Age. You should watch another one of my videos if you want. But there are so many lies in New Age. Like, Ascended Masters are already a lie. A lot of people who are teachers, and a lot of people who are just learning about it and teaching themselves and whatever, they're corrupted by a lot of this stuff, because really all the answers are within you. Your temple is within. It's not out in another dimension. It's not in your psychic abilities. It's inside you. And to reach that God frequency, your true frequency, you have to reach inside. You don't reach outside into this physical world, which is actually what you call the spiritual world. It's all part of the same thing. I can't really explain it, because I really don't want to mix two subjects together. But just remember, under the sixth dimension, it's all together. It's kind of like there's a cutoff between the fifth and the sixth dimension. It's cut off. The rest is all together. And believe me when I tell you, Lucifer and his people are in charge of our dimensions, including the fourth and fifth dimension. They are corrupted. They are corrupted. So if you want to learn more about it, I'll probably be making another video about what I'm talking about. So in a while, but blah blah blah. Yeah, so away from wars and domination, like that's fine, of course we don't want that stuff. I just think, we have to be careful what we wish for, and we have to be careful, where we're doing it, like uh you know how and where. Like, you're doing it with other people, and you're doing it in a dimension that you don't belong in. You really just belong within yourself. That's the frequency you have to get in touch with. There's no dimension, there's no such thing as connecting to another dimension without being deceived. There just really isn't. The only way to connect in another dimension is to die and go to heaven or hell. That's it. You're not allowed to go to a heavenly place. You're not allowed. It's only God and the angels. You're simply not allowed there. Only when you die, if you have kept, with God and with the truth, you're allowed to go back there. Not otherwise. What would you think you'd be allowed to go to the holy place? You don't belong there yet. You belong there in spirit, okay? But yeah, okay, so sorry, you do belong there. You belong there. But you can't reach that. Not yet. You're not able to reach that. That's all I can really say about it right now. But let me just check my notes, see if I have anything else. Truth is light. Fear is not to be suppressed. Yeah, like truth is everything, right? So follow the truth, you'll get all the answers. You don't need to do this with groups and whatever. You don't need to group together and be like, let's all do this together, kumbaya, blah 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 blah. No, okay, you do it by yourself. Everything is within yourself. You can have relationships with other people, that's important, but you do this work by yourself, and you learn from others. You just learning the truth from other people, and working on your relationships with other people, and then working on your relationship with yourself, and finding the truth within yourself and out into the world, and then reaching God, because you'll be on the God frequency as soon as you really get on that divine path to truth. Watch my past video for that, by the way. How to reach your higher vibrational frequency. So fear is not to be suppressed. Fear often drives you to truth, then to pain, and then to understanding or whatever, right? I'm just giving an example. Yeah, we can't suppress fear. We shouldn't try to control other people's emotions. You should only control your own. Otherwise, it's really called witchcraft when you're trying to control other people or trying to control the world. All you can control is yourself. That's it. Fear in the right context can bring you to more enlightenment. So fear is okay. It's just like every emotion. It's okay. It's okay to, indulge it a little bit, understand it, and come back to normal. Fear brings you to the truth just like every other emotion. The real underlying fear in the world is for things to go negatively. But if that's the way it needs to go, that's how it'll go, right? There are things in this world that we can't control. We can only control ourselves, right? But you can't control the outcome of the world necessarily. You can just control what you want to do, and what kind of energy you want to put out there, which does affect the outcome. But you just can't affect the outcome with it like a group or like generally, blah blah blah. Everyone has a choice. Everyone has a choice. We shouldn't put any kind of sorceries on anyone. No kind, even if you have good intentions. Blah blah blah. Yeah, the emotion of fear isn't the enemy. Evil is the enemy, right? Evil is the opponent, not fear. Fear is not the enemy. Evil is the enemy. If you want to wish something in the world, you can wish against evil. That's fine. Fear brings awareness and physical and spiritual preparation for the truth, right? Just fear brings awareness to the fear. Fear brings awareness to lies and truth that are out there, right? Okay, so we need to embrace it and understand it just like every other emotion. Once you do that, you're still allowed to express yourself. People shouldn't talk about other people's emotions. Yeah. Unless you're having like a private conversation or something, with someone. Yeah. No, people shouldn't talk about other people's emotions and lifestyles when they don't know them. Yeah. Yeah. If we're fearful of our government or evil or fearful of things in our food, in our air, we then move forward to understand where our fear stems from and what it means and how we can solve it, right? For ourselves. Yeah. People think we're moving forward in this physical world, but there's no moving forward. There's just learning. There's just learning about the truth. That's how we move forward, is we learn more and more truth. So I think I will leave it at that, and I'll talk to you guys later.